Let me just introduce Michael Moe real quickly, just an abbreviated. Michael, who you can see him there in the blue screen. Michael is the founder and CEO of GSV. He has, his company GSV has invested in organizations such as Facebook, Twitter, Dropbox, Snap, Lyft, Spotify. These are all brands that I'm sure no one has ever heard of out there. And so seriously, these are some of the most prominent emerging and prominent companies that are in the world today. Uh, Michael is probably best known by many of us for being author of the book Finding the Next Star Book, which is a bestseller on the New York Times, and also his recent book, The Global Silicon Valley Handbook. So I just did an abbreviated version of that, Michael, but I wanted to kind of start with you just sharing a little bit more for our folks about GSV and then kind of the idea that you had for the GSV-MBA and why you felt that was important to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kevin, and it's a pleasure to be with everybody today. A big part of the founding of GSV is around my passion for entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship innovation. I've been blessed to having lived and worked in Silicon Valley for the past 25 years. And one of the amazing things that we're experiencing and one of the pieces for the opportunity with this program is this mega trend that we're seeing, the mindset of innovation and entrepreneurship that's made Silicon Valley such a remarkable place is spreading throughout the world. And so we're looking to connect Silicon Valley to this emerging global Silicon Valley, and that's what GSV stands for, Global Silicon Valley. What I've said is the old McDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, in the old kind of farming world, the economy that basically existed when you had 98% of the population were farmers. The new economy, the innovation economy, New McDonald has a startup, and it's E-I-E-I-O. It's about entrepreneurship, innovation, education, impact, and opportunity. And so we think the GSV-MBA in partnership with Belhaven is going to provide the access and the opportunity to be able to bring people's dreams to life, give them the knowledge, give them the skills, give them the confidence, give them the connectivity that we think is vital to have, launch businesses, and not only launch the businesses, but have the businesses thrive.
That's great. And yeah, that is so vitally important today. And one of the big questions that I got asked the other day as we were talking about launching this new entrepreneurship MBA with you, Michael, and having worked with you, is why in the world would this MBA at this time with COVID and all the other things, why would that make sense to look at that? And I know you really have a passionate answer about that. Would you share that with our folks real quick?
Well, I think it's actually the exact time to be helping people, give them the knowledge and tools to participate in the future. What the reality is, we are in a very difficult environment. You have 40 million people out of work. You have college graduates that are going into a job market that doesn't exist. You've got these different civil unrest and feelings of injustice. And the reality is these problems are all part of what creates opportunity. The greatest business opportunities are where there's a problem. The bigger the problem, the greater the opportunity. And so given that environment, I think the time to get the skills and get the knowledge and get the connectivity and get all the attributes that go along with how you can be a successful entrepreneur, this is the exact time to be leaning into it and stepping forward. In fact, if you look out throughout history, many of the great transformative businesses that were launched in periods of challenges and uncertainty. And so I believe right now we are entering an era that's going to be the golden era for entrepreneurs that take the bull by the horns and move forward.
That's great. And I think you're right. It couldn't be a more compelling time to look at this as an option. I wanted to check. Oh, we lost Ari, it looks like. Uh, Here he comes back. We've got a couple folks on here that have already applied for the program and are working on that. And we want to make sure both Ari and Carlissa and others that join, that you have a chance to ask any kind of questions that you might have. And we might even ask you some about some of your ideas. But Ari, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I just had to rejoin.
Great. No, that's good. Just wanted to see if either of you at this point just have any questions just out of the gate, because I've got some others I can ask Michael, but I would love to see if there's anything that you would like to know, either about the program or just from the GSV-MBA founder, Michael Moe, if there's anything that we could answer for you here to kind of tailor this to what you'd like to know, for both of you.
I guess if you just kind of give an overview of the program besides what I would look at the website. Maybe if you looked at some of the other programs out there, like a Harvard or Stanford, like, are there any differentiators here?
Yeah, I think one, we have looked and we know the Stanford people well and have a great admiration for John Levin, who's the head of Stanford Business School, and Nit Nori, who's the head of Harvard Business School, and many others. We know them and we're friends with them and have great admiration for the programs that they've built. Frankly, this program is different. This program is not about creating theoretical knowledge about how to be a senior manager in a business. This is about real world knowledge and how not to be a participant on a ship, but actually being the captain of the ship. This is what this is about, the captain of the ship, where you launching this idea and this dream. And this whole program's designed to give the kind of knowledge and fundamentals to be successful with that. It's also designed to create a network and an ecosystem that you participate in, not just during your period in the program, but importantly afterwards. That is going to be a key support mechanism that I think is going to be around entrepreneurs, not just people that are looking to climb a corporate ladder. This isn't about this program is not about climbing the corporate ladder. This program is about building the ladder and having you climb up it, as well as the people following you up that ladder. And so that's a pretty big differentiator. And I think one of the key things that you should be excited about is that, to graduate from this program, you're going to launch a business and pitch it in front of investors. And that's I think a very real world way to say, we're ready to go. And so I think there's again many different programs out there for people, but for somebody who wants to start a business, that wants to be an entrepreneur, that wants to sort of be in their own boss and be in charge and not be answering questions, not being answered to somebody else. I don't know of another program that exists not only in the United States but around the world where that's the situation. So we think it's very unique. We think it's compelling, and we're going to work our tails off to deliver the kind of experience that you should expect.
Really good. Ari, does that kind of give you a good answer there?
Yeah, and let's have a follow-up question. Is there any particular prior experience or skill set where a particular student would lend itself to taking advantage of the program more than others?
The short answer is entrepreneurs come in many different shapes and colors, many different experiences, different skills that they bring. Some have experience where they grew up and they had a summer job or had something where they exposed them to some opportunities, and that was sort of, they take that experience into a graduate program. Some have academic experience, in a certain area where it might be marketing, it might be technology, it could be in finance, or a variety of different things. Honestly, I think the common denominator for the people that come in this program, the experience that they have is a burning desire to have their own business and have that business have an impact. And impact can mean a lot of things, different things to different people. But I believe, and I think, one of the things that we aligned with Bellhaven when we designed this program together was the students in this program. The common denominator has to be a burning desire to make a difference and have an impact in the world going forward. And that could be starting a transformative technology business that comes up with some revolutionary way to do something. Frankly, it could mean starting a food truck. It could, and everything in between. And so I don't think there's any kind of specific background that we're looking for or that is going to lend itself to being a star in this program. What's going to let somebody be a star in this program is that passion and that desire to make a difference and have an impact, and that you're going to take this program in and fully embrace it and and utilize all the different not only knowledge that we'll share, but the different connectivity resources that it experience. We think that that's going to be transformative. And that's just literally, nobody should do this program that's sort of checking the box. Well, let me put this on my LinkedIn account. Isn't this cool that I have the GSV-MBA? Yes, absolutely want the GSV-MBA to have tremendous respect in the marketplace. But as important as the respect that we'll earn is really that the people part of this are going to be doing great things. And so that's the common denominator. If people aren't coming to this program because they just are looking for something, another degree, I don't think that this is going to be a great program for them. If they're looking to really get the skills and knowledge and confidence to do something, this is going to be awesome.
That's great. That's a great. Thanks for that great response, Michael. I think one of the things that I love about the program, and would love you to piggyback on that and to build your comments, is that it really starts with the very first class, developing that business plan, and really that will be refined throughout the program. And I know it builds to the presentation of the investors, but that's something that will continually be reviewed and gone back to. And I know on the last call we had, you talked about the fact that you fully anticipate some people will come in with one idea with their business plan, and through the maturation of what they learn and about themselves and within the program, they may actually pivot on that. Would you talk about that as one of the key parts of this program?
Yeah, one of the attributes of a successful entrepreneur is this ability to adapt and to be able to evolve and to be able to learn and be able to move towards what they've been able to gain from input in both the marketplace and new things that they learn. I mean, one of the things that people don't really recognize, that you look at many of these great businesses today, often they started with a completely different business idea or model. I mean, Slack, which is sort of one of the hot companies that just went public, started its corporate existence as a game company. You look at Twitter, which is ubiquitous. Twitter was a podcast company. And so, it's very typical that a company has one idea but evolves to another. And so this program, I fully expect some people are going to come into the program and they'll have an idea and they're going to develop that idea, and then they're going to launch that idea with the graduation, and that's the path. I fully expect there's people that have no idea when they come to this program, but they want to develop an idea, and this program should be great for that. And there's going to be people that have an idea and they think this is what their future is going to look like with this product or service or concept. And as they get through the program, they learn that that the idea that they have is not as good as an idea that they came up with, and all that should work extremely well within the program. So that's what we call normal. We think it's normal to have different paths to get out and launch the business, but all along the way you're going to be developing entrepreneurial skills and knowledge and ways to be successful.
Really good. Wanted to see if Carlissa or Mika have any specific questions. If not, I've got a couple more, but I want to again, always be able to have any of our participants to jump in, or Ari, you too, as well as anyone else. One thing I wanted to kind of build on what Michael was saying, and Audrey Kelleher, who is our vice president and works with our online programs, works very closely with all the curriculum, and she's been working hand in hand with Michael and his team. Audrey, is there anything you'd add to what Michael had shared about kind of the uniqueness of the curriculum and some of the paths that we're taking it down, especially as we differentiate it from other MBA programs?
Well, I think GSV has rich resources that will be made available to the students as they go through this program. And if I'm not speaking out of turn, I believe there'll even be the opportunity to come alongside tutors and just really get more than just feedback from your professor. But Michael Moe will be deeply involved in the courses, and there'll be just a lot of value add beyond what just a normal interaction would be between the student and the professor.
Thanks, Audrey. And maybe I'll just jump on that comment. A few different things to realize. We think the combination of the resources and experience that Belhaven has, coupled with the experience that we have working with many different, literally hundreds of young businesses, some of which became wildly successful, coupled with the businesses that we ourselves have started, provides a real world perspective. All that together, we think is very unique. But something that's going to make this program even more unique is our belief in the coaching aspect that complements the teaching aspect. So this combination of professor knowledge and the different things that you learn in the class, coupled with having that coach, because I think what we believe one of the kind of secret sauces of successful businesses is getting the right coaches involved. Professional athletes, of course, have had coaches for years, and yet in business, for some reason that hasn't necessarily been normal. We think that piece is going to be a kind of a secret sauce here. And one of the, just as an aside, but it'll give me an opportunity to talk about one of the most special people that I've had the privilege of being close to. There's a person, you can look him up, his name was Bill Campbell. They called him the coach of Silicon Valley. And he was on my board at GSV. He also was the coach for Steve Jobs. He was on Apple's board. He was the coach for the Google founders. He was the coach for Jeff Bezos at Amazon. He was the CEO of Intuit. And his coaching, which was done in a very quiet manner, I think were instrumental in those companies' success. And I can say that experience that taught me was having the coaches to complement other things are going to be a key way that we are going to help our students, get in the marketplace with the comprehensive experience and confidence that they need to thrive.
Great. I want to pause. We really kind of had a very dynamic discussion thus far. It's been good to hear the different questions that have come up. Does anyone have a specific question? I see Robert just logged on. Hey, Robert, getting everything all set up. We're glad to have you on the call. Does anyone have anything? Mika, I think you were with us last week, so that was great to have you back again. That means we're even further along in the process. Hey, Eric, go ahead. Do you have another question?
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious. This will be the first cohort, so I'm thinking about what the differences would be as part of the first cohort versus further down the line. I joined a different program on the research side of things a few years ago in France, and had a couple of hiccups as being the first cohort, and I didn't end up staying with it. So I was wondering if you could give some insight to, where things are today, what needs to be developed further, and what the overall the program will look like?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, a couple things. One, it's important to keep in mind that Belhaven is a university that has got 5,000 students overall and has been around for over 100 years with an excellent reputation. That's why we partnered with them. Secondly, while the GSV-MBA is, this is the first cohort, we've been doing programs for entrepreneurs through GSV Labs for over 6 years, including doing programs with Google, 3M, AT&T, Intel, Times of India, some of the large, most important companies in the world. So we have a lot of experience in running programs. I'll also say, and we didn't take this initiative lightly by any stretch of the imagination, as you can maybe assume just by how important this is to me personally. But as you can imagine, being in this first cohort, there's, I think that the kind of attention and focus that is going to be, fundamental here is actually going to be, quite special for the students here. There's going to be, I hope 20 years from now, people will be saying the same thing, where there's a lot of love for the students and the students feel like they have been provided overwhelming support and value and what, and far exceeded their expectations. I hope that is true forever, but I can guarantee you that this program, you will not feel that this is, there's no way that anybody that's part of this program is not going to feel that the right type of attention and resources were made available. And frankly, I think it'd be hard to imagine that the type of inputs or what we're going to be able to provide here, it could be replicated. And that sounds probably like a pretty bold statement, but I'm very confident that's going to be the situation for our students. So as much as I think it's a really important question to ask, and appreciate you doing it, if you think about it, it's really kind of the best of all worlds, because we do have you have a long history with Belhaven. There's a graduate MBA with Belhaven, as you're probably familiar. And GSV has a pretty significant track record working with high growth businesses and helping young companies get to a place with programs. And because we're getting out of the gates with this, and this is so important, I'll just say it's certainly important to GSV, but this is incredibly important to me. We're going to bend over. We're going to do everything humanly possible to create overwhelming value and success for our students. That's just the way it's going to be. So I think you can feel confident that the experience that you had with the program in Europe will not be repeated here.
And let me just add a couple things too. First of all, Belhaven University has had an MBA program for 25 years. So we know how to run a graduate program, and it's actually our #1 program. Secondly, this is an online delivery, and we've been doing online programming for 15 years. We've had complete programs online, and very few schools can say that they've had complete online programs for that long a period of time. So we've kind of figured out how to do it, and we're very confident that we're able to deliver this program in a dynamic online learning environment. And we wouldn't have partnered with Michael Moe if we didn't have total confidence that we could honor his brand and at the same time honor Belhaven's brand. So we feel like this is a great partnership, and like Michael said, we too strive to make this the best experience you could possibly have, and we're not going to drop the ball on it either.
That's great. I want to add one more point to that. I think, again, Ari, you asked a great question. One of the things hopefully you're already experiencing with Lisa and Sheila and two of our folks that work in the enrollment area is the kind of what we would call customer service or student service that we work with our folks. We we are certainly not the biggest school, but one of the things that we do, I think, as well or better than anyone that I'm familiar with is the way that we reach out continually and constantly to make sure our students are aware of what is going on as well as what's coming up. And there are a variety of resources in place from learning management systems to other processes that will assist any of our students. But after you go through this enrollment process and you start, then you'll also have a specific student services representative, and it'll be that same person throughout your entire program. And you'll be able to work. So if you have a question or a concern or need feedback and you're not able to get in touch with your faculty member, or there's a struggle with your student financial aid, whatever it might be, you have that direct person to kind of act as the way that Michael was saying as a coach. So to Audrey's point, yeah, we've been doing this for a long time, and we're really excited about partnering with someone like Michael, who comes in with a totally different perspective on how to deliver an MBA program, an entrepreneurship MBA, with all the mentoring and other things that he'll be adding, but then with the backbone and the baseline, other things that we at Belhaven feel like we do very, very well. So there is something for being the first. You may get a special medal at the end. I don't know. We'll do something really special, but we're excited about this first cohort starting in August. And look forward to seeing as many of the folks on this call and some from last week's call be able to join us. But that's a great question. What other, are there any other questions from anyone else? Because we really kind of set this to be a short time, not taking too much out of your, and there, thank you, Carlissa has already commented from one of our prospective students. The advisors are awesome. They have definitely been a big help. And I think, I appreciate you saying that. And I think you'll continue to see that as you go forward. We really want to model from the front end what it'll be like as we go through. So, but are there any other questions that anyone might have about anything?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So in terms of the time, the amount of time, if one has a full-time job and is embarking on this program, is it realistic that it would take 1 year to complete the courses, or what would you say?
Yeah.
Maybe Audrey and Michael could answer that.
Yeah, and we've been talking, you know, Audrey's going to be able to give you more. We've obviously spent a lot of time kind of discussing this and what this would mean for different types of students with different type of time issues. But Audrey, why don't you give your perspective, because I think you've got the best knowledge.
Sure. Well, the expectation is that students will take one course every 7 weeks. So you're only focused on one topic at a time. And there are 10 courses in the program. So if you look at it, a calendar, when we run our 7-week courses, it would take you just a little longer than a year taking one course at a time, just a little bit longer. But it is realistic that close to a year you would be finished. We do not recommend that you double up and try to take 2 courses at a time, especially if you are working, because there is a time commitment involved. And in order for you to get the most out of the coursework, you have to be able to put your time in to do the appropriate study and assignments and taking advantage of the resources and the tutoring that's available.
But it's very doable. I think that's why we did, so kind of be lockstep one at a time to allow you to be able to have that. Again, I want to be respectful of our time, but don't want to cut anyone off. Is there any other question that hasn't been asked that you guys would love to know? Either about Michael or anything. Yeah, Ari?
Yeah, I don't want to take advantage, but I guess if you talk about some of the networking resources, some of the use cases, some of the access to the partnerships you may have, like some of the ones that you've gone through GSV, like what, can you give me some examples of who can I expect to come in?
Sure. I mean, and again, you can see through different programs that we run through the years, the types of people that are friends of mine and that will support and participate with the program. I think there's a couple different levels. And again, I think a lot of what is going to be gained through this is, I think about my own life, and what changed it more than anything was being exposed to people that had done, things that either maybe I couldn't have imagined before I met them, or wouldn't have had the confidence to be able to do unless I'd met them. And then there's sort of I'd call that sort of a high level coach. And then there's just people that you're being connected to on an ongoing basis. And in both situations, I think that's going to be a big asset that you get from this program. So you can see, if you go and do any kind of search, like on the Asu Gsp Summit, which is an annual conference that we've run for 10 years in partnership with Arizona State, you can see we literally have, and people do this really because they want to participate in this ecosystem and help move things ahead. This is education innovation. We have a pioneer, which, again, I don't want to, but you can see we've had everybody from President Bush to Bill Gates to Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, to Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, and on and on and on. At the Pioneer Summit that we had, for the startup community, again, we've had everybody from John Donahoe, who was the CEO of eBay and now the CEO of Nike, to Ronnie Lott, multiple times. Ronnie, besides being a Hall of Fame football player, has been a very successful Silicon Valley startup person and investor, and on and on. Joe, the venture capital community, we look at this GSV as a very open platform. So, the Mark Andreessens of the world, and the Bill Gurleys of the world, and the Vinod Khoslas of the world, they've all participated. Joe Lonsdale is probably the hottest VC on the planet right now. They've all participated multiple times in different things that we've done, and again, we think that's going to be part of this GSV-MBA is part of that club that is going to be, I think, very most importantly. I think it just provides perspective. Yeah, connectivity, but perspective, and I think it's kind of ongoing relationships that will be developed as part of this program. And what I'm very excited about is the global Silicon Valley. And so if you looked historically, I have a belief, and I might have said this last week, but since it's a belief, I can repeat it, is that talent's pretty equally distributed around the world, but opportunity has not been. One of the key motivations that I have is this democratization of opportunity, and opportunity is driven by, the foundation of it is your knowledge, your education, and the GSV-MBA program we think is going to have a huge role to play to democratizing first knowledge and then opportunity to be creating great businesses all over the world because of the network and the ecosystem that the GSV students are going to be part of.
Great. Well, really good stuff, guys. There may be follow-up questions that we didn't get to in this short time together. And if you want to, you can forward those through whoever you're working with, either Sheila or Lisa, and they'd be happy to send them directly to Michael, and he can respond in that fashion also, because at the end of the day, this is an important degree. It's an important time. It's an exciting time for us to be working with someone like Michael and his Chief Operating Officer, Anita, as we are developing this program. But for you guys, the students, we also want to make sure that as you walk into this, you walk in with your eyes open so you can kind of see where we're going. So I appreciate everyone that's logged on and the questions that have already come out of this. We'll look forward to holding more of these. We had the last one 2 weeks ago. We may very well do another one in a couple of weeks. Michael has availed himself to spend time with us in this and pulling time out of his busy schedule to work, and we even have a follow-up meeting after this one on some other logistical issues. So we're continuing to look forward to having this launch. But with that in mind, Let me just see, Michael, do you have any closing comments you want to share with the group kind of as we sign off, or anything you might want to add to close us out?
No, this is, I think, terrific, and I can't tell you how excited I am about what this program is going to do and what we're going to be able to develop together. And the students are part of it, are going to be a very special group, and we're looking at again making this an experience that's going to be transformative. And so it's it's bringing your ideas and dreams to life. We take that very seriously. We appreciate people betting on us to help them fulfill their dreams, and we're not going to let people down. So that's my last word.
That's great. Well, appreciate everybody joining us and taking time out of your different days, wherever you might be. And we'll look forward to hopefully either seeing you on the next call or enrolled. And Sheila and Lisa will be certainly happy to continue to work with you guys as we move forward. But again, Michael, thank you for your time.
Thank you
for joining. And Audrey, thank you for jumping in on some of the academic specifics. And again, if anyone has any real specific questions for Dr. Kelleher, she'd also be happy to respond to those. So just work, there's the only bad question is the one that's never asked. So make sure that you get everything answered. You guys have a great rest of the day. Look forward to seeing everyone very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.